As we entered the exhibition, I was talking about this idea of the body of the artist as a recording device, a device that records his own history. With this work, this sculpture, titled EX-ESCRAVO GORDON, we have exactly that. This is a sculpture made out of plastic, vacuum-generated relief based on the image of an ex-slave, Gordon, showing his back. What do you see on his back? On his back, you see the scars of the whipping that he has endured during his entire slave life. Just with that, with the scars, you have this idea that the body, that everything that touches the body is recorded through the body. And what's recorded here is the history of slavery on the back of this person, but on the back of so many of them. I think what Jafa is telling us here is, of course, a contemplation of history, of course, of American history. But we know that the institution or the industry of slavery was not only American, that many nations across the world were part of this trade, the slave trade, that fed the economy of the world for many years. Is American? It would be easy to say that this is a work that only looks at American history. But having this exhibition here is also a way to contemplate how, unfortunately, the history of slavery, the history of pain, and human-inflicted pain is universal. Let's talk about the image a little bit, about the sculpture, to just give you a sense of the way Jafa works. Because being a sculpture, it's still an image-based sculpture. And that's, I think, what we're going to understand walking through Jafa's work. So you have this photo, very well-known photo of the slave, turning his back and showing his back with the scars. The image has been manipulated digitally to the point that you cannot recognize the face, which brings also this image to a level of universality. It's not only one character, it's a people. And then the scars. So the scars are manipulated both in the images and in the relief which is created. Because when you see the image frontally, what you do not understand is that when you go there, what you see is relief sticking out almost 10 centimeters outside of the body. It creates a geography. It creates a terrain, a geography of pain. It could be mountains, or it could be a curve that would happen in a medical device. It's very complex for me, because on one hand, of course, you have almost a liquid image. You have an image which is coming out of a very difficult, horrible moment in our history. But it's also an image in which Jafa introduced, for me, for my culture, a different layer of understanding. Because when I look at that, when I look at this image doing that, this relief, the first thing that comes to mind to me is a cover of the Joy Division record, Unknown Pleasure. And if you know this record, let me show the image here. You have exactly this relief here. So you have an image of African American history that is pulled toward the universal, You have an image digitally manipulated, that's also a testimony to his culture today, but it's layered with this image that Jafa cannot not know this image, and it's an image actually that appears in the coverage of division appears in other of his work. So it's not by chance that it's there. So what you have here is a very complex layering of iconography. When I was telling you that his work is about visual literacy, this is exactly what's happening here. To add to the complexity is that this record by Joy Division is called Unknown Pleasure. And to look at this image with the notion, the title, Unknown Pleasure, in your head makes it even more cruel, even more complicated, because you don't know for whom this unknown pleasure is for. Certainly not ex-slave Gordon.